Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Hustle Do a Show. It's a weekly podcast where together with my wife we chat with top experts, mentors, entrepreneurs, and other super cool people on body and mind growth. More specifically on topics like body fitness, sport, diet, nutrition, and also for the mind, so mind fitness and brain hacks, how to get more happier, less stressed, and basically everything that includes working on your mind and body to lead a badass life. In this episode, I chat with Benjamin Decker, who's a social activist, meditation teacher, and entrepreneur. And he was recently named one of the world's leading meditation teacher by Concious Lifestyle Magazine. He grew up in a very spiritual family, exposed to yoga and meditation teachings at the very early stage of his life, and that helped him to get a real deep understanding about the practice, which I think you'll notice during the podcast. He's now teaching meditation regularly, both privately and also in famous LA meditation centers like Unplug Meditation, Wanderlust Hollywood, the Den Meditation, and Mystic Journey. So in this episode, we chat about his childhood. We also talk about how a very beautiful name of his mom has actually sparked interest in him in meditation from the early days. If you want to know what's the name of his mom, just keep listening. It will be in the very beginning of our chat. We also chat about the reasons people start meditation practice and his tips for beginners and a couple of other very interesting topics. So I hope you'll enjoy this episode, and if you do, please subscribe to our podcast, to our YouTube channel, like, share, do all these good things, people, because that will bring your karma points balance into the green. So show us some love. We love you back so much, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Have an awesome day, awesome life, and just love you guys. Hi, Ben, and welcome to the Hustle Do a Show.
Hey, Boris, thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely a big pleasure, and I've been very excited, to make this call and to make this podcast. It's a real honor. So, for those who don't know, what do you do and who you are, how would you typically introduce yourself?
How do I typically introduce myself? Well, I'm a meditation teacher. That's what I do for work. I feel really connected to meditation, specifically as a force for social good. So I love to bring meditation into environments where people aren't typically meditating. I'm a community organizer. I work with a lot of different nonprofits. I work with a lot of different authors and other meditation teachers. So I guess you could say I'm a entrepreneur, meditation teacher.
Gotcha. So I was interested to hear, let's say, how you introduce yourself, because when I went to your website, it says, I think one of the first sentences is actually that you are a social activist, meditation teacher, and entrepreneur. So I was wondering, which one of these three you feel strongest about, or currently at least?
I would say those three things: social activism, meditation, and entrepreneurialism. I would say I braid the three together. All three of them are so crucial and important to me. I love entrepreneurial work because you can take into your mind the needs of the audience that you're going to be serving and the population you're going to be offering your services to. And I love meditation because you can actually process information on a more advanced, complex level. And I love the social activism because it feels like in a world where we have such incredible technology, like right now you're in Europe and I'm in Los Angeles, and here we are together in one moment. And so being able to live in a world where we have this incredible technology, where we can know what's going on all over the world, where we can dialogue with people all over the world about issues happening that are affecting all of us, it feels like the purpose and the destiny of our generation is actually social activism and social reform. So for me, the three of them are directly related. If there was one word that encompassed all three of them, I would probably use that one.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And meditation, when did it came to your life, and how was it? Gradual, or was something after one event or something like that?
I was introduced to meditation before I can remember. I actually, I just visited my parents, and we were joking about how I was sitting with the Gayun Mudra in lotus posture, oming, when I was like 5 years old. Um, so I do remember that when I was a young child, my mom, whose name happens to be Karma, uh, yeah. So really, even just the word karma being spoken in my home and in the community, and learning what that word meant through people's curiosity, really, more than anything, people were curious about my mother's name and why she had that name. So I was introduced to the concept of karma really young, and my mother also practiced yoga. So she was in the living room with her yoga tapes, practicing yoga, and I found myself really intrigued by them. I found myself really intrigued by miracles and by saints and sages and the Dalai Lama. And I remember I read a book when I was about 9 years old called The Art of Happiness, which was co-written by the Dalai Lama. And I even have my family photos of me with my younger brother at a bowling alley with our mudras, sitting in cross-legged with eyes closed, smiling on our face. So I've really been intrigued and connected to meditation since I was a young child, and it has never stopped. It's been part of my life
Gotcha.
forever.
And when did you decide to kind of take it to the next level and become a teacher?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always, even like 5th and 6th grade at school, introduced my friends in my community to meditation. I remember I was probably 14 or 15 years old when one of the parents from church told my mom, "Okay, your son needs to stop giving my kids incense." I got in trouble for giving incense out to my friends when I was an early teen. So really, when it became more formal, I never considered it to be something I was going to do professionally or as my career. I never considered myself a guru or formally initiated into one of the traditions that would have me take on that title. But when I was in my early 20s, I was doing celebrity PR, and if there's anyone in the world that needed meditation, it's celebrities. And I really experienced a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety that came up within me, but also from the people I was working with and serving in PR. So I found myself regularly introducing people to meditation, turning people on to meditation. I had clients that even joked that my PR firm was a front for my meditation business. And it was really part of something that was happening for me, where I was feeling the weight and the intensity of the entertainment industry, and the cognitive dissonance where I was supporting and energizing and participating in things that I didn't agree with or believe in. And at home, in my personal life, I was supposedly on this very sincere spiritual journey. And so the dissonance between what I was doing out in the world and what I was trying to do within my heart became too great. And I eventually, from that point, was introduced into, and I worked hard to transition my career into working in the nonprofit sector. From the nonprofit sector, I was able to work in anti-human trafficking with a number of organizations, and I was able to work with the American Red Cross, with organizations that brought water to clean water wells into third world countries, community service organizations, and through that work, It's all coming. I'm answering your question. It's coming.
Of
Through
course, of
that,
course. Very interesting. Yeah.
through that work, I was really given the unique opportunity to work with someone named Marianne Williamson, who was an author who had written a bunch of books on spirituality, written a few books on America, and the healing of America was a book that I was really impacted by her. She had a book called Illuminata, a book of prayers and meditations, and she was actually running for Congress. And that, you mentioning my social activism, entrepreneur, and meditation, the idea of this amazing spiritual teacher running for Congress really intrigued me. And I started to work more actively on her campaign, supporting her as much as I could, really bringing my relationships from other sectors and introducing her to them and introducing them to her and her work and the ideas she was sharing. And through that, I received invitations left and right to lead these more public meditations. I had private meditation and prayer groups and scripture study and book clubs in my home for years. In some ways, ever since I was a teenager, like I was saying. But it was really Marianne Williamson's campaign, seeing her articulate so clearly what I believed in and what really was true for me, articulated through this really well-educated, powerful person, really inspired me to go more boldly into more of who I really am, which invoked all these invitations to teach meditation.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a fascinating story. I mean, it seems like definitely a meditation chose you, then vice versa, right? It's not like it was kind of a lot more subconscious decision, like you growing up, in this environment. Your mama practicing yoga, you seeing there, you being such a rebel kid and giving incense, being a well-known incense dealer on the street. Yeah.
On the school bus.
Yeah, exactly. On a school. Do you have some, So, yeah.
You got the stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I got some. You want sandalwood? Yeah. Gotcha. So definitely seems like a kind of a lifelong journey towards the point where you are now, and even doing PR for celebrities and stuff like that. I mean, super fascinating. So tell me, I've also read that you are, and correct me if I'm wrong, kind of a co-founder of the Unplug Meditation Studio. Is that correct?
I'm not the co-founder. There's one founder, that's Susie Schwartz, but I was one of the
first teachers.
Original teachers, yeah. So I had the really incredible opportunity, in my life, when this perfect storm was happening, and the meditation started to become something I was taking more seriously, more publicly. About that time, I did a 2-year training with the Self-Realization Fellowship in Los Angeles, which is, you may be familiar with Paramahansa Yogananda's book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. Are you familiar with that book?
I'm not, but I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, you'll like it. You'll appreciate that book. He founded a spiritual center in India that has 2 locations, 2 temples in Los Angeles that merge Christian teachings with Hindu teachings. And so I did a 2-year training there. I studied with, I really went into a deep dive study of Marianne Williamson's work through A Course in Miracles. I studied with Oprah Winfrey at the Institute for Transformational Thinking, and studied with Dr. Ronald Alexander at the Open Mind Training Institute. And through all of that, while all that was happening, I actually made a friend. His name was Andrew Keegan, who was a childhood actor in the 90s in the U.S. He was like a total heartthrob. He had gone through a spiritual journey on his own, and he opened a spiritual center in Venice Beach, California, and invited me to be the spiritual director there. And so when we opened that facility, that was really when I started to do a weekly meditation for the community. And when that started happening, the invitations came in left and right. And not long thereafter did Susie Schwartz open her secular Unplugged meditation studio, the first drop-in meditation studio in the world. And not long after that, I was invited to be one of the original teachers, meditation teachers at Wanderlust Hollywood, the Wanderlust Yoga Festival world headquarters here in Hollywood. And then not long after that, the Den Meditation opened up, and Tal Rabinowitz, who was the vice president of NBC Comedy, she is the founder of the Den Meditation, and she contacted me and invited me to be one of the original teachers there as well. Okay. So as this movement was building up, I happened to just be willing and present.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So interesting. I want to. I wonder which way I should go, but let's just go now to the let's say unplugged meditation. So the whole concept of unplugging, not we don't have to talk about that particular studio necessarily, because I guess it's just one of the kind, but the concept of unplugging nowadays, I was just thinking while riding a bicycle today that and kind of contemplating by myself, do we need to unplug like a lot more than we used to 20 years ago, or just all the things that kind of occupy our mind were actually just something else 20 years ago? What do you think? Where we always had such a busy minds, if one may say, or it's just a concept of the last decades?
Well, I think the challenges of every generation are perfectly matched for that generation. So I was recently talking to a friend of mine who was about to embark on a major challenge in her life, a major next level of growth. And I said, you basically can expect that the absolute most challenging things will come up for you through that process. And I think that that's true for all of us if we're on a real sincere path toward growth and progress within our own lives, and as much as we can tap that into what our culture and world is doing together. So over the last 20 years, social media has been born and created. And so we're in a really unique moment in history right now where the internet exists. We still have some semblance of freedom over the internet for now. Well, who knows how long that's really going to last. And the world is highly unplugged already. The most of the world is not on the internet. We look at the internet and we think, oh, it's limitless. There's so much there. That's not true. There's limits to the internet. There's only certain ideas that are really promulgated on the internet. There's really prominent concepts, prominent perspectives that have taken over the dialogue on the internet. We have a great opportunity to say what we want right now. However, the things that we're exposed to, it's not that we're exposed to less or the same amount as 20 years ago. I think that we're exposed to quite a bit more. But I think that what's happening now is we have the opportunity to curate what it is we're taking in. And with the default algorithms on Facebook and Instagram and social and Twitter and all the other social media networks, we are operating, our minds start to operate from the perspective unconsciously of what content these algorithms are delivering to us. But we also have the choice. You don't have to listen to FM radio or AM public radio. You don't have to use social media networks. You could be listening to really meaningful, enlightening audiobooks and podcasts, and right now the documentaries that are available are incredible. But even within the documentaries and even within these great audiobooks and podcasts, we still have to use our mind, and we still have to be present within that, and not take everything at face value, not take everything as fact, as truth as it comes in. And so I would say that right now the challenge of unplugging, or the challenge of what we're dealing with right now, is less about unplugging from our technology, even though I think that's a really healthy thing to do, but more about unplugging from the belief systems that are prominent, and allowing ourselves. And I think what Susie meant when she named the studio Unplug Meditation was really to disengage, not just from our technology or from the social media, but also to disengage from our habitual thinking and the prejudices of our culture. I want to share one quote. A man named Harry Overstreet wrote a book called The Mature Mind. It's out of print, but you can get used copies on Amazon. I recommend it, The Mature Mind. I can't believe it's out of print. It's an incredible book. And he says that just as people living within the same physical atmosphere live and breathe the same air, we breathe in the same quality of air, we breathe in all the same toxins and particulates in the air, we also breathe in the philosophical perspectives of our culture and our atmosphere. And so I think that we need to learn to put on a gas mask, learn to go within and recalibrate ourselves from our own inner guidance, so that when we are interacting in the world, we're not interacting by default as a result of what these algorithms that are introducing new ideas, and most of what's entertaining our minds.
Understood. Yeah. Well, so many follow-up questions. Let's start with the I don't know, the movement. Let's say so. Would you say also that you mentioned before, actually, when you were answering the other question, that meditation kind of became a movement, right? Like, as I guess yoga has became a movement, I don't know, I guess 20 years ago or something like that. When people come to you, why do they state the reasons? And if they do, what would you say are the common, reasons why people start meditating?
Well, I think that anytime someone asks you a question, you're kind of put on the spot. And so you answer from whatever comes to mind right then. And so when people will come to my classes, I sometimes will say, all right, who's here because they read that new Harvard Medical School study about blank? And some people will raise their hand, some people won't. I noticed that for the most part, you're not coming to meditation for one reason. You weren't introduced to meditation at one time, and then that one time takes you into a meditation class. You know what I mean? So I found that most of the people that are coming to my classes, they've heard about it. They have an innate understanding of a few things about meditation. And I think that meditation is a really powerful word and a powerful tool, because it synthesizes and brings together and sort of channels the energy of a lot of different movements at once. So spiritual psychology, traditional psychology, psychotherapy, even neuroscience, the science of physiology and stress reduction in the body, and not to mention all of the spiritual traditions from all over the world. So you see a rise in like the charismatic, non-denominational Christian community throughout the United States. You see a rise in the Mormon population all over the world. You see a rise in the Brahma Kumaris population all over the world. You see a rise in yoga. You see, and I think that meditation is something that can actually bring us all together, regardless of which spiritual traditions we are inheriting or heirs to within our own individual lineages. So I think that most of the people, what I've really found here in Los Angeles, most of the people that are coming to meditation are coming short for a few basic fundamental reasons, like it's going to help me think better, it's going to help me sleep better, it's going to help me manage stress, so I can therefore take on more projects, be more effective, make more money, have a healthier body, help more people. But I think even underlying those couple more superficial ideas, there is the reality that people want fulfillment and spirituality. They want to know God. They want to feel complete. They want to know their place in the universe and the purpose for their life. They want to know what they're supposed to do. They want to feel loved. They want to feel connection to other people. And I think that all of the religious traditions all over the world, at their best, have taught people about love and connection, and at their worst, have taught people about disagreement, argument, judgment, and that type of thing. And so I think that the natural movement toward meditation is a result of refining what we know to be true collectively. You and I are fortunate to have been born into a global world where, by the very nature that we're born into a global world, we are heirs to more than just our bloodline. We're heirs to the ancient teachings from all over the world. You have access to it. You are born into a world where you have access to it, and it's just inviting you to explore it. So I think that we are all together looking toward our ancestors, looking toward the wisdom teachers of ancient times, so that we can actually get through the enormous, insane challenges that our generation has right now, just as every generation has had to do.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Interesting to hear your perspective. Quite deep. Let's say. Obviously you are, a meditation teacher, and you've been living this all your life. So I would never be so eloquent in my thinkings, but I would love to go a little bit on the practical side now. So let's say
Great.
People come for whatever reasons. Like you said, there's a list of superficial ones, and there's some underlying ones, which are conscious or unconscious. So, but they come to the class, and how would you, what would be your advice for somebody who's seriously would love to master meditation as quick as possible? If you could, obviously it's not it's not a thing you would love to, you have to force, right? But
right.
But still, what is your advice for somebody to get into the real benefits of meditation as soon as possible? What could be the process?
Well, I have two things to say about that. One, I think I mentioned this to you. I have a book coming out on May 1st, 2018. It'll be available worldwide, so you'll be able to get it in Switzerland.
You haven't mentioned. Okay, so I will definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you have May 1st, you said?
Yeah, May 1st.
Okay, so then, yeah.
And I'll keep you posted on that. And, of course, it's still several months out. But it's that book is called Practical Meditation for Beginners. And what it is a 10-day guide through 10 different meditation techniques. For me, of course, I was introduced as a young child to oming, to the lotus posture, to yoga, mudra. I was introduced to awareness of the breath, silent mantra, was also, by age 12, I was attending and participating in spiritual rituals in the temples of my family's religion. And also when I was all 4 years of high school, for 4 years, 5 days a week, every single day that I was in high school, I took a seminary class where I studied the Bible. I studied different teachings based on my family's religion, and that was an actual program that I took, was graded on, was tested on, graduated with honors. And fortunately for me, I was given the great blessing to be born into a family with very strict, firm, definite spiritual beliefs, but with a very clear designation within those spiritual beliefs to specifically seek out and understand wisdom from other spiritual traditions. And so because of that, I also explored open eye meditation. I explored Kabbalistic meditation, Jewish rituals, mystical Christian tradition. I spent a lot of time exploring the evangelical non-denominational Christian churches all over the United States. I went to Baha'i churches and temples, Hindu temples, and really had a great exploring the Sikh tradition and Egyptian spirituality. I had the great opportunity to go to Egypt and experience a lot of the ancient sites with a lot of really incredible historians and incredible minds through that process. And so this journey for me really required so much research and so much study that this book is going to be the distillation of 10 different meditation techniques. If you talk to most people, they could probably tell you 1 or 2 different techniques. But this is for the true beginner, someone who wants to get started within 10 minutes of receiving the book in their hand. You know what I mean? And so I do have that coming out, and I do believe and hope that will be a good resource for people who, like me, wanted to learn what was out there, wanted to learn the different benefits of the different traditions, where they came from, and how to practice them. Without having to join a new religion or something like that, So that's one thing. But in addition to that, I would just say, if someone wants to get started right away, they want to receive the benefits in the most practical way possible, I would say the first thing that they could do is to stop what they're doing, set a timer on their phone for 5 minutes, and count their breath. Just breathe in and breathe out and count your breath. And if you lose count, start over again. And that's a very basic level 1, if you could say such a thing, meditation practice that will help you develop focus of the mind, help you deploy your attention, control where your attention is going, and tune into the sensations in your body, which are key parts of meditation, as you know, as a meditator. So I would say the next thing that I would suggest, the really most practical thing, is Unplug Meditation has an incredible meditation app. And you can download that guided meditation app, and there are hundreds of meditations on there. I have at least 20 or so that I created on there for specific purposes. And what's great about that is you can do a 5-minute meditation, but you can also do a 30-minute meditation or a 45-minute meditation. And it's not just time and music. You have, I think, like 75 different teachers that you can choose from that will do meditations on different concepts and topics. So finding something like that, because the app is available worldwide, but Unplug Meditation only has 2 physical locations, and both here in Los Angeles. And I found that people coming in to Unplug and learning from those teachers, learning from a couple different teachers, experimenting with different teachers, has really gotten people to the deeper parts of their own mind. And I would say that the Unplug Meditation app because it's not one of the apps where just anyone can upload anything, because it's curated and it's built, it's produced in-house by Unplug Meditation, it is particularly practical and particularly effective.
Awesome. So I think we'll add it to the app review test
Yes.
we're planning to do. We're planning to, I think, test 6 or 10 different apps. We already practically tested, I think, 3 or 4 of them, but we are gonna test a few more. And
yeah, I think the apps are great for someone wanting to get started right away.
Me too. I mean, I've done only with an app. I mean, my first experience were without an app a couple of years ago, but kind of what kept me more disciplined and what kept me going, and kept the barrier super low was actually an app, right? Because that's about that. It's about when you're starting something new, there's so many unknowns, and obviously you want to feel as comfortable as possible, right? So there's nothing more comfortable than being in your home. Nobody's watching, nobody's there to, to judge you, even if nobody actually does usually. But so at the comfort of your home and just an app, just you. So I would probably also second that advice. Start with an app. Cool. And then yeah, sure, please.
The next thing that's coming up for me right now is really group meditation.
Yeah.
Not that anyone's judging you exactly, but there is an accountability that happens when you are sitting with other people.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who's also a meditation teacher, yesterday, when we were talking, actually on Facebook Live, I do Facebook Lives periodically on my page, she and I were talking about group meditation, and she said, when someone walks in a room and they're really social and they're really, they've got a big personality and they've got a big smile on their face, they change the energy of the whole room. And the same thing is true when a few really serious meditators come into the room to do a group meditation. They help take the whole room to a deeper place. Of course, you never want to feel like you're judging someone for not being able to sit perfectly still when they're meditating. You never want to, you don't want to go there with it, but being in a space where, hey, we're really taking this seriously. We're going to really do this practice together, is actually totally powerful. And it develops what they call Sangha. Are you familiar with that word, Sangha? So Sangha is the spiritual community. It's the group of people that you're studying with. And whether or not you're formally studying with a group, like I had the privilege of doing a lot of formal study over the years, and I still continue to have formal Sangha groups that I'm involved in. But it starts to develop your ability to relate to other people, especially in group context, on higher concepts, from a bigger, higher perspective. And I think that is one of the most powerful things we can do right now in the world, is relate to our communities from a deeper, truer, more authentic, more expansive worldview, more inclusive worldview. And I think that could very literally lead to the resolution and the solving of all of our problems. Of course, not all at once. Of course, new problems will come up along the way. But I think that if we stick together and we stay true to our higher ideals as individuals, and therefore bringing one another up in that way, we stand a great chance at really taking our world back, and bringing in the healing to the different systems and communities that really need it, so that we can actually start to envision a new future for our planet, and really for the world. We're already in the conversation of colonizing Mars. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. No, that's
so the whole cosmos,
Yeah, exactly.
and our role in it.
Yeah. No, that's That sounds cool. So I think the group meditation could, I mean, I think there's also a lot of, I think that's also a good place to start, I guess. But it could also be kind of a level 2 if we were speaking about level 1,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah,
if
that
once
sounds
once
good.
you are, kind of familiarize yourself with the very basics, could be through the app, or I don't know, YouTube video, just
Right.
in your own comfort, then you could, yeah, exactly. If you're looking for a level 2, if you want to, feel the energy of the other people.
Even if it's just you and your wife, do you and your wife meditate together?
No, we haven't tried that. We should actually. Yeah.
Yes, you should. Come on, you're doing a meditation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely meditate with your wife. And then if you have two or three other friends that want to come over, you can just play a guided meditation on YouTube. There's so many on iTunes. Like I said, I think I have like 20 or something on the Unplug app. And if you have Apple TV, you can play those Unplug meditations. And I know that I have students who are all over the world. So many in Canada for some reason. I've got to make a trip to Canada. Who are getting groups together and using their Apple TV and playing one of my guided meditations and just meditating as a group together. No one's facilitating it. No one's guiding it. They're just using a pre-recorded guided meditation. A lot of them are musicians, so they're like singing and playing music together after. So a lot of them are Christians, so they're doing it like a Bible study, using the meditations to open the Bible study. A lot of people are also in like health and fitness groups that they use meditation to begin that. So it's a great thing to add on to anything you're already doing with a group, and to deepen your relationships with your friends and colleagues, and with your wife or
Yeah.
husband or lover or whatever.
No, of course. Yeah, no, I definitely want to. That's a good idea. We should just more like an evening meditator or more like morning, but I'm sure we're gonna find
It's
time.
good to do
Especially,
twice a day. It's
yeah,
good
we
to
could
do
do
twice
twice
a
a day.
day.
It's true,
So,
exactly. I could just, yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah.
So
Twice a day is like level 3, let's say. We're
yes,
making up our own levels for
yeah,
this.
exactly, level, and then the ultimate level 999, and it's like you're then really.
That's when you do not let your lower self interrupt what your soul is here to do. Level 999 in meditation is every moment of your life allowing your soul to make the decisions so that your personality, your ego self is not the one deciding what to say, when to say it, what to do, when to do it.
All right,
So
that's
I would say,
interesting. So that you think that's the ultimate
yep,
goal,
I think that's enlightenment.
enlightenment. That's what the enlightenment
Yeah.
is in your, yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
interesting. You also mentioned. I just want to comment on you said that if everybody would meditate, like all the problems would disappear. I think that's what you kind of said, and I think that's obviously yeah, maybe,
That's not
or
exactly what I said. Well, just to clarify what I mean by that, in order for us to conceptualize
yeah,
intelligently and effectively the solutions to the problems that we're facing and the complexity of it all, we need to be meditating, and we need to be meditating together, and we need to be communicating together from a meditated place
yeah,
about these issues.
gotcha. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I think. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, I was just thinking, kind of reflecting also on my personal, very short experience, only level, I guess, 2 or 3. Uh, not even 3. I haven't done it for my wife yet. That's obviously what meditation helped me is not, to kind of, the problems obviously didn't disappear, normal practical problems, whatever the challenges, it's just, it helps you to understand a different, or have a different point of view towards those challenges, and like, don't look at them so deeply from that kind of, that negative cloud. Oh, it's a big problem, it's like, it's ruining my day, but more towards like, hey, I mean, I'm just gonna do it, I'm just gonna solve it, or it's not that bad, or one step at a time. There's a lot more positivity towards challenges comes when your mind is more calm. At least that's kind of my very first observations.
Mm-hmm. It's key. It's definitely a very key key part of
Yeah.
meditation.
Awesome. So the time is flying, unfortunately, and I would love to do a very quick rapid fire question round,
Okay.
but also I just have one more, and I'm also kind of feeling entrepreneurial, so that's why I would love to, as a last kind of a question, to go into the entrepreneurial side of meditation, right? So you identified yourself as an entrepreneur as well, and like we talked about, there's this big movement, the accessibility to start meditating has increased tremendously. YouTube, Apple TV, apps, everything. So the barrier of entry has practically disappeared. A lot more people know about it. So it's the whole snowball effect is happening right now. And let's talk about the business side of it, right? So where do you see this going, and where do you see opportunities for somebody who loves to do what you do? And maybe like you could talk from your own experience. I mean, you are very deeply into this practice. What is your point of view on the business side of it?
Well, I'm reminded of a phrase, two phrases. One from the Buddhist sacred text, and one from the Judeo-Christian text, and it may even be something that is resonates within other traditions like Islam. But in Buddhism, there's a phrase called "for the benefit of all beings," meaning whatever you do has to benefit all beings. In the Christian, how we would say it in Christianese would be keeping your eyes single to the glory of God. And so the idea here is, seek ye first the kingdom of God. That's really what it was. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. And so when I think about those traditions, and I think about for the benefit of all beings, and I think about the kingdom of God, which would be a world without violence, prejudice, a world of deep creativity, profound love, and that type of thing. When I think about anything from a mystical or metaphysical perspective that I might want to create as a professional or as an entrepreneur or in my career, I have to check in with my spiritual belief and understanding about those things, which is that all things can be created from within you, and all things can be added to you, as long as the first priority is always harmlessness, cooperation, and for the benefit of all beings. So seeking first that reality of calmness, kindness, relationship, and clear communication with all others. From that place, everything unfolds. And so for me, I never considered meditation as the business or as the career. But it has proven to enhance everything else that I do. So what I would say is, tune into your heart, tune into your passion, find what you're really good at, find what really turns you on and lights you up, and then look at it and find all the ways that it can be used to benefit other people, that it can benefit other beings. That place, especially in meditation, what one of my mentors, Dr. Ron Alexander, would say is you tap into your core creativity. So from that place, tap into your core creativity in meditation, and you'll start to see the unique ways that what you can do uniquely as it relates to meditation, as it relates to your dharma, your contribution to the world. And you'll be inspired. You'll have inspiration. So for me, that comes out as I love doing group meditations with the public. I love studying the way words work and the way neuro-linguistic programming works. I love the use of positive affirmations. And so I apply those things in what I'm doing, and I aim them from the most sincere place that I possibly can to helping the people that I'm interacting with. And so in that way, I'm seeking first the kingdom of God. And through that, I have experienced extraordinary gifts and surprises and opportunities and raises and bonuses and paychecks and residual income and all of these things, knowing my faith within me contains within it the idea that I am completely safe and protected, that as long as my personality is in alignment with my soul, then I will be completely carried and held on my divine purpose in life. And it's always proven to me that even in challenges, there are enormous blessings. And even through the lessons that I'm learning, there are gifts and surprises and opportunities. So I guess what I would say to make it as practical as possible would be first of all, meditate more, learn about it, learn the different teachers. If you want, I would love to give you a list of great books. In my new book coming out, I have probably 50 books in my recommended reading. Each day in my book, Practical Meditation for Beginners, there are 10 days in the program. Each day has a different meditation technique. And each technique, I have 3 to 5 recommended books for each one. So I probably have like 30 to 50 recommended. And so I would recommend reading, learning, really understanding meditation, practicing it from inside of you, journaling about it, developing language around it, talking about it, and adding meditation into whatever it is you're doing. Mm-hmm. Adding meditation to other things would be, I think, the most important key entrepreneurial advice I could offer.
Sounds great. I think there's no, let's say, there is a correlation why I guess meditation has been so popular in these days, in Silicon Valley and in the places where entrepreneurship are very much alive, right? Because you see quite immediate benefits, and to cope with all the challenges that come within kind of being an entrepreneur. Definitely meditation is good answer for that, I think. Awesome, Ben. Thank you so much. So just before I let you go, I would love to just ask you very few short questions.
All right, let's do it. I'll be quick. I'll be quick this time.
All right. No, please be as quick as you wish. So how does your mornings look like?
I give myself plenty of time in the morning. I don't like to rush in the morning. So I get up, I give myself about an hour and a half to meditate, to stretch, to read, to journal. And lately, with the book, I've been writing in the morning. I've been doing all my creative work first thing in the morning.
Gotcha. What is the best life advice you ever got?
My mentor, Marianne Williamson, sent me a sweet note where she said, where she thanked me for my kindness. Mm-hmm. And she said, kindness really is something to the effect of kindness being the most important thing. And I know that when I'm impatient or I haven't eaten or if I'm nervous or if I really care about something, kindness sometimes seems to be the first thing to go. And so the best life advice I could give is that kindness is key.
Interesting. Sounds great. And I think I can feel it from you also that, we had this, very short scheduling, kind of misunderstanding, but as soon as we started talking, I felt the kindness right away, so I didn't feel any stress or anything like that. So I think you are practicing this advice pretty well.
Trying to. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So when you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to your mind and why?
Successful. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey comes to mind because she is so down to earth and so vulnerable and so open-hearted, and she has really taken a long time to do the work in a really real way. I remember I recently watched an interview with her where she discussed having interviewed a member of the KKK, and she realized that her show, that her work, that she was being used by the KKK in that moment, that they were appreciating the publicity, she then later found out that they were using that video of her interview in their recruiting process. And so she took control over the challenges that she was experiencing. She overcame the odds, and she continues to overcome the odds. And she has always brought other voices and minds in. She is a very sincere seeker, I believe, in her heart. I can pick up that from her instantly. And the people that she has introduced to the public are really important thinkers. And she, of course, has extraordinary financial success and has done some really beautiful, kind, generous things for less fortunate in the world. And she's able to do exactly what she wants, exactly when she wants, and exactly how she wants. And I believe she is keyed into the idea for the benefit of all beings, seeking first the kingdom of God. So I would say Oprah Winfrey is successful.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely a role model, I think, for a lot of people, and also the fact that she made it, with her own hands. Through hard work, like you said, that makes her even more special.
And consistency.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing in meditation. It's the hardest thing for everything in my life, and it's the hardest thing in this distractible world.
It's true.
Consistent.
It's true. That's number one challenge. That's number one challenge in my life at the moment, for sure. I hope to overcome it soon.
You're doing great. You're doing it, and I see you doing it, and I'm blasting you with good vibes for your consistency.
Awesome.
I definitely see you growing and expanding.
Awesome.
For sure.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. So just the last question. So the purchase under the $100 you've recently made that had a great impact on your life.
Okay, purchase under $100. I'm looking around my home. Give me a second to come up with this one. Let's see. I don't really buy things. Purchase under $100 that really made an impact on my life. You know what I did? I bought new sheets and a new comforter for my bed. I've been using dark blue sheets with a brown comforter for a long time, and they were comfortable and everything. But I went and I got a brand new cruelty-free down alternative comforter, and it's white, and I got white sheets. And when I did that, I changed a few things in my room, and I put a picture. I was raised Christian, and so for me, the divine archetype that I connect to the most is Jesus, and so I got a beautiful $5 gold frame and printed one of my favorite pictures of Jesus and put it on my nightstand. So I got a comforter, new pillows, new pillowcases, new sheets, and a picture of Jesus on my nightstand. And you know what? It brought a sense of sacredness into my sleep. It brought a new sense of clarity, cleanliness into my space. And I think sleep is something we need to really do well with our cell phones outside of the bedroom. It's a major priority for me to not have my desk or too much work in my bedroom. I know that I have a tendency to enjoy working and meditating and writing in my bed for some reason. I've always enjoyed that. I know that I do sleep better. I get deeper healing sleep Now that I have chosen to remove those things from my bedroom and just switch it up by bringing in those white sheets and everything for the bed.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we do spend 1/3 of our lives mostly in that room, so it makes sense.
May as well make it heavenly, right?
Exactly, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thanks a lot, Ben, for joining me in this video podcast. It's an audio for those people who are listening us on iTunes. I hope you can't unfortunately hear the smiles. You can hear the laughs, but I definitely enjoyed talking to Ben. Thank you so much. So, what is the best way to contact you?
My website is bendeckermeditation.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and all of those are linked through bendeckermeditation.com.
All right, cool. So I will put all the links, also the books you recommended, and the link to the Unplug Meditation app and other resources you mentioned. I will put in the show notes of this episode as soon as it's produced. And looking forward to read your new book in May. I'll put a calendar note somewhere so I don't forget. Definitely big thank you for taking time.
My pleasure.
And I wish you a nice afternoon in sunny LA, I hope.
Yes, it's sunny.
Yeah.
It's sunny. Thank you for everything. Thank you for what you're doing. This is a really cool project that you and your wife have going on, and I think it could really help a lot of people. And I can really see your professionalism and your commitment to it. So thank you for involving me, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, Ben. No, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate the good words. So take care.
Take care. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey guys, it's me again. So I hope you enjoyed this episode with Ben as much as I did. If you want to reach out to him, just go to bendeckermeditation.com. You'll find everything what you need on his website. And if you want to get the links and to the resources and tools he mentioned, I will put everything on the show notes of this episode. And you can also see about all other episodes on the meditation topic we had simply by going to hustleduo.com/meditation. So that's hustleduo.com/meditation, and you'll find everything what we have on this topic. So keep rocking, keep hustling, and see you in the next episode of Hustle Duo Show.